Change is a big word at the start of every new year. And it's because a lot of us want to experience something different. We want to experience a change, something new in our lives, because it's the new year. We human beings are pretty unique in that we have this big perspective of our whole lives for an entire year. We see it as one big chapter of a series of events, creating stories as we go along. And every new year, it feels like we're opening up a fresh new chapter. And so I think the inclination, or at least the way we think about the new year, is that it's a new chapter in my life. I want to experience something different, something new, something that perhaps I've never done before, or at least a substantial growth in me as a character in this story. And that's why we set New Year's resolutions. That's why we set goals. It's because we want to somehow create a change in our story. And so we start making promises to ourselves and telling others about the goals and the resolutions we have. We say, I'm not gonna do this, or I'm gonna be more like this, or I'm gonna do that. And we get so excited about it because the idea of doing something different, something new, is very, very compelling. But like an excitement that goes really high up at the start, it immediately goes down very, very quickly. 15 days, a month, or 2 months into the new year, and we often go back already to our old habits, to our old ways of life, and it feels like nothing has changed. It's a very frustrating, very disappointing experience. It feels like when you're playing a video game and there's like this level that you get stuck on and you just really want to overcome that level, but somehow it feels impossible. It kind of feels like that. It feels like that you're stuck in front of a wall and there's no way over for you to climb. It's very hard. And the worst part about it is you want the change. You have this desire, this feeling, this passion for it, but it feels impossible. It feels like you can't help but go back to your default. And it's very disappointing. You disappoint yourself, you lose confidence, you feel like you've disappointed others, and it feels like, am I bound to repeat the same year as before? Am I bound to just keep living my life like this? Like, is there no end to this life? Can I not do something different? Am I not the master of my own fate? A couple of months ago, I really gave up. I got so tired of doing my New Year's resolutions, but it was kind of a different kind of tired, I wasn't like giving up because I couldn't do it. As a matter of fact, I drove myself so hard and so much last year, and I did see progress. I saw results, but it just came to a point where I gave up. It felt like no matter how hard I tried, no matter how many times I saw some results, but it never really came to a point where I was satisfied, where I felt happy about the changes that I've experienced. It felt like taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. And it was just a very, very disappointing experience. I realized that life is just too unpredictable. Things happen in our lives that derail us from our goals and achievements. And, it's not to say that you should immediately give up when things don't go your way, but, if you really want to see progress in your life, sometimes things just hinder you. Sometimes life just slows you down. Life is just too unpredictable. And on top of that, me as a human being, I'm so unpredictable. I'm very much fallible. There are things that I do that just doesn't make sense to myself. Like, why do I do this? I don't want to do this. I want to be this, and I just can't explain it. It's like my body, as much as I want to in my heart and in my mind, but my body or my soul just goes back to its old ways of doing things. And then, of course, the matter of fact that I just can't control everything. Life, I'm just one human being and the whole world is at motion. I can't control everything that happens in the entire world. And so I finally came to a point a few months ago where I finally prayed. I prayed to Jesus and I told him, Lord, here I am. I want to experience a change in my life. I want to do something different, I want to experience something new. I want to become a better person. I want to improve myself. But for some reason, I just can't. For some reason, I just can't become the person that I know you want me to be, that I know is good for me. I just can't. So here I am, all my brokenness, all my being me, all my imperfections, with all these desires. Here I am. Take me, and I know you take me as I am. You turn me into the kind of person you want me to become, because I can't do it on my own. I need you to do it for me. And it was at this point, right after I prayed that prayer, like a couple of months, that I experienced so much change in my life. I started taking out my body more seriously. I learned lessons and I was humbled. I gained a fresh new perspective on life, and things just started to happen in ways that I didn't expect. I'd say that I changed so much in the past 3 months compared to everything that I've ever done. As it turns out, the ideal version I had for myself was very little. It paled in comparison to the kind of person God wanted me to become. His version of me wasn't just an incremental improvement of who I was. His ideal version of me, the person he wants me to become, was something totally different, something that went beyond what I even imagined for myself. In his book, Mere Christianity, C.S. Lewis describes this in a very powerful way. He says, "You thought you were being made into a decent little cottage, but he is building a palace, and he intends to come and live in it in himself." My New Year's resolutions, even though they were good, but really, the goal I had set for myself was just to become a decent little cottage, to be a better, ideal version of myself. But what God had in mind wasn't just to make me a decent cottage. What He had in mind was to make me a palace where He could live and stay in. And so, imagine if I hadn't given up. Imagine if I had continued controlling my life, pursuing these goals and resolutions I wanted for myself, only to see this little incremental improvement in my life. When what God wanted was something totally different, something that was beyond who I was today. I would have never have seen what God wanted me to become if I had continued to control my life like this. But now that I've let go, now that I've let Him take control over my life, I realize that there's so much more that He wants me to do, and there's so much more that He wants me to become. That's beyond what I ever thought of or imagined for myself. All I know is He has a plan, and He has a future for me. And I'm seeing glimpses of it here and there through the lessons, the opportunities, even the mistakes and the corrections I experience. I am very excited. The only thing that I'm really focusing on is just focusing on what God wants me to do. And oftentimes He speaks in my heart's desires, and so I'm also just working like, Lord, you've put this desire in my heart, and if you really want me to do this, then I submit this to you. Lead me and guide me to it. And I'm just surprised of what God has been opening up in my life. Amazing. My life is sort of like this, sort of a mess. But I know there's a God. There is my Father in heaven, who is the gardener of this place. And slowly but surely, He's going to shape my life into a beautiful garden where He and I can enjoy. So my life now is full of what's next, Abba? What's next, Papa? Because I'm not really sure what's coming next, but I'm very excited because if it's God who's at control in my life, then I'm sure He's going to do something big and mighty. And I don't really know what that is, but I'm excited to figure it out. So let go. Let God take control and go on. Take care, friends.